What are the qualities the top tech companies look for in young specialists?
I've done a lot of engineering hiring in my time. I've been in charge of some large engineering groups, um, uh, and worked at companies of all sizes, really. But really, the thing for me that I look for that's the most important is an engineer understanding why something the way it is the way it is. And so I'll explain why that is. The technologies that we use change all day, every day, right? You're constantly learning new technologies and new techniques and new ways to think. But then when you learn things enough, right? When over time and you learn a bunch of things, you start to see patterns emerge, and that might be different syntax, right? But the same ideas appear over and over. Um, so over time, as a engineer gets more experienced, I look for them to be able to discover those patterns. But for a brand new engineer, what I'm looking for is not breadth of knowledge, but depth, whatever it is, right? If in my experience, the most successful engineers are the ones that didn't just do their homework, right? These are the
Mm,
ones that are building side projects and you know um, building things that they themselves use that are important to them, and building up a portfolio on GitHub and learning as they go and improving their coding and reading other people's code. And the way I test for this kind of is, I ask them what is the thing that you understand the most, the deepest, right? Your most
mm,
technology that you understand all the way down. And I generally have a passing familiarity with most things that people will mention. And so I'll just start by asking kind of a basic question about whatever that technology is. And I assume they'll be able to answer it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start digging into their depth. Well, okay, so you told me how it's implemented or how it works. Great. Why does it work that way? Right.
mm.
And so I start digging in, and then they
Oh
give me
yes, sorry to interrupt. It's the common saying that if you can't explain it easily, you don't understand it,
a hundred
right?
percent true. Einstein said that, or no, it was not Einstein. It was famous physicist. He gave all those great lectures.
I think it was Einstein about physics. Like he said that if you can't explain physics
Maybe it was
simply,
Einstein.
you don't understand. Or it was about quantum physics, but whatever.
Sure. But you're totally right. I mean, and I've done a bunch of teaching and writing in my time, and that's true. Whenever I signed up for a new project, a new talk, a new course that I was giving, a new book that I wanted to write, it was always because I wanted to know it at
Mhm.
that next level, right? And so writing or teaching was always a great way for me to learn it. And so what I'm looking for is engineers that can dig in and really understand the why of things. It doesn't have to be a lot of things. It could just be one thing. But what I'm looking
Mm,
for them is them being able to dig in and have that knowledge to multiple levels, right? I go as deeply as I can, and I experienced engineers, I expect to go more deeply. But even for new engineers, I try to go as deep as I can to assess their ability to answer my why questions. And to me, that's an indication of their ability to really learn something. And as
mm.
I say, as an engineer, you're constantly learning new things, new ideas, new technologies. And that's how I assess. That is the number one most important thing for me when I'm hiring.
Do you think the passion is the key here right now?
It's funny you say that. That is the thing that I think is going to stick out most to potential employers, right? They don't want someone who who just flipped a coin and went lawyer, doctor, programmer. What's going to make me the most money? That's what I'll
Yeah.
learn. I'll go do that, right? They want someone who lives and breathes it. All of my favorite people in the field, in the industry, were all people who started, at age 15 or 12 or 10, or
Yeah.
they they were musicians and they started recording their music and they used computers and now they're writing music and using their computers, or they were, solving problem. For me, I started building forms over data packages when I was 14, which is just a fancy way of saying I built a program where I could type in my D&D character sheets and save it and then load it,
Oh,
print it, and right. That's what I was. And then I
start
built
small.
reporting software.
You have to be curious, right? About
That's
stuff.
right.
Yeah.
I built reporting software, which is just a fancy way of saying I could print my character sheets to the printer with all kinds of fancy escape codes that made it look cool, like
Oh,
bold and italics. And,
that's nice.
this was in 1982, right? So
Mm.
this was my passion, right? And I picked a computer as a career as a computer scientist way back, way before there
It was
was
fancy
any
like
I
this.
had any knowledge that, I didn't know that it was going to be a lucrative career. I just got lucky, right? It was passion.
Yeah.
And that's what employers really want to see. They want to see enthusiasm. They want to see passion. They want to see excitement to dive in and get their hands dirty and get started.
Yeah.
And then the other piece of advice I will give you is don't try to fake passion, right?
Oh, yeah.
Instead, pick something you're passionate about and do that, right? Insincere passion is not, it may get you past the interview, but it won't last long after that.